Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show presented by FanDuel. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone. Big shout out to Ryan Smith, our producer. Guys, we're going to be talking all kinds of Browns today, but let's kick it off with a little light note. The Cavs are 1-0 at home. It was an exciting time last night, and we'll definitely be chatting Buckeyes as well. Stay tuned for our featured Garage Beer interview. How was everyone's weekend? And you made it through yesterday.
I took in some MAC action over the weekend here, Nick. I went down to Oxford to visit my daughter. I brought my two sons down there. We took in Miami Redhawks football. They were playing Western Michigan. This is for control of the MAC, and my Miami Redhawks look pretty darn good. We have a pretty good quarterback there, Daquan Finn. He's a transfer. He transferred to Toledo, over to Baylor. Now he's with Miami. This guy's maneuverable back there in the pocket, was able to get the ball out, and did just enough for my Redhawks to overcome what was a tough Western Michigan team to take control of the MAC. So good weekend for me.
Yeah, Saturday we're flying high, man. The Kent State Golden Flashes get a huge win as well. Take down Eddie George and Bowling Green. That's the biggest win for Kent since arguably I went there. Like, that's the biggest win for Kent in the last 3 years, certainly. So they're doing a good job. They're winning games that they're not supposed to win, and Saturday was a lot of fun. You'd ignore what happened on Sunday.
We will have to be getting into it, but did you guys catch any of the Cavs, though?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First of all, I started off with the Browns, which we'll get to. We'll debrief all of that, what was that fun there on Sunday. But Cavs look pretty good. I know Milwaukee's not a very good ball club, right? And they're not supposed to be very good this year. They gave us a little bit of a run there. But, it's just nice to knock off these wins.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see growth out of this team. We're going to talk about it ad nauseum. We saw some growth out of the team. We saw some nice plays. We saw a win. It was nice to get a win at home. It feels good to be back, to have the Cavs back, and really to wash that taste out of our mouth from what the Browns gave us on Sunday.
They play next Sunday as well. So your Sundays will have wins, coming up. Like they play Sunday, November 2nd. They've got the Atlanta Hawks at home. So you have opportunities to be a winner on Sunday, which is really all we're after.
Yeah, Cleveland can win. Let them know. Yeah, let's unpack. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Lake Spur Marketing, connecting your brand to the right customers. Visit lakespurmarketing.com today.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our Cleveland headlines brought to you by Fairway Ford.
Fairway Ford offers complete customization for any vehicle on the lot with their Fairway Black Label line. This series features custom upgrades like premium wheel and tire packages, a wide variety of level or lift kits, performance enhancements, and fully customized interior options. And every Fairway Black Label truck comes with a Rhino spray and bed liner. Whether you're looking for an aggressive off-road stance, a bold street presence, or a one-of-a-kind build, Fairway Black Label delivers. As a bonus, many of these upgrades can be financed for as little as 0% APR depending upon the vehicle line. You dream it, they can build it. Visit fairwayfordohio.com to explore their current Black Label inventory or give them a call to start designing yours today.
Okay, gang, I think it came as no surprise that the Browns lost in pretty decisive fashion to the Patriots 32-13. But one of the crazier things that we saw, and we'll get into everything, but Myles Garrett having that career-high single-game 5 sacks, which is a franchise record, and he's the only NFL player in history to do that and lose by more than 3 points. We lost by 19. So just a kind of a stunning thing. I forget who tweeted that. I found it on X. But, what are we doing?
An incredible microcosm of the season right there. You see Myles Garrett break his own record. 4.5 comes to 5 sacks there. You see him by the end of the game, he's sitting alone on the bench as we're getting smashed out there. Once again, the offense looks absolutely awful. Dylan Gabriel was just baffling all afternoon. After that first drive and after those scripted plays from Kevin Stefanski, I don't know what our offense was doing. Our defense was doing their best to hang in there for a little while, and then they eventually just got railroaded. Nick, this was a failure on all parts that we saw there on Sunday.
Yeah, and you said it was a microcosm of the season. It's really a microcosm of Myles Garrett's career. They continue to waste it. I know there are a lot of people that get frustrated by his post-game comments, and you see him throwing his helmet in disgust. Like, I'm actually to the point, and I know, that's not good. Myles is not a leader. He never has been. That's probably given some of that same old Brown stench off to some of the pups. You see Mason Graham's looking at that. Quinshon Judkins looking at that. Like, that's how the top paid guy on this defense is acting when things aren't going too well. But I actually don't mind it because the head coach is a zombie. The general manager is a zombie. You're not getting any frustration out of anybody else. The owner isn't making any changes. So sure, Miles should be upset about this. They threw him a ton of money. He's doing his part. He's wrecking games on Sundays like they paid him to. And the results don't matter because the rest of it all is so inept. So I think we can all kind of sympathize with Miles when we see him acting this way because, yeah, we're all tired of losing too.
Do you think it's Shedeur time if we look at the quarterback situation and how do you assess Dillon Gabriel and
how do I assess Dillon Gabriel?
And do you,
It's a
and,
joke.
and do you think
it's a laughable joke? Dillon Gabriel is completely outmatched in every single game that he's played, and he will be outmatched in every single game that they start him in. It's the crux of the situation. If the Jets out of the bye week start Justin Fields, he's far and away better than Dillon Gabriel. If they start Tyrod Taylor, he's far and away better than Dillon Gabriel. Geno Smith is on this schedule. He's better. Joe Flacco's on this schedule. He's better. Dillon Gabriel is 32 starting quarterback right now. He's the worst in the league. They've done this to him, though.
I was going to say,
but
nobody
believed that Dillon Gabriel was worthy of being a top 100 pick.
Correct.
They did. They made him a top 100 pick, and then they continued to inflate air into his tires and tell us, that his processing ability and his college football experience, all of these things are going to lead him to be a good quarterback in the National Football League. Well, if they believe all of that, they truly believe that, then everybody should be fired and Dillon Gabriel should be benched because this has been complete malpractice. He never should have been put in this spot. If Dillon Gabriel was drafted into a competent organization, he would have been a 5th-round pick that got some action in late November, early December, and we would have all been saying, look at Dillon Gabriel. He's such an easy guy to root for. With this offensive line and this receiving group, look at what he's able to do. No, but instead, they overdrafted him despite all of his physical limitations, which were well documented, all of his cons on his scouting report, which are ringing true every single Sunday, and he's not able to do anything. And he's getting just killed out there, and they did this to him. He should not have been a top 100 draft pick. They burnt it on fire like they normally do.
And yet Kevin Stefanski did say that he's going with Gabriel after the bye week.
Yeah, because they've convinced themselves that they've got this airtight plan for Shedeur Sanders, and they've got the magic sauce of developing quarterbacks. Guys, they haven't developed anybody. They shouldn't be trusted with anybody. They couldn't develop a quarterback if it hit them in the face. Like the last quarterback they told us this about was Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who somehow got worse the longer that he spent. The more time DTR spent in Berea, the worse he got.
I think what they're down to is the very last button they have is Shedeur Sanders, and they know that that's it. That's endgame. You're not going to go to Bailey Zappi, although I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in a game by the end of this season. But really, realistically, your last button is Shedeur Sanders. They're trying to delay that for as long as possible. I say put him in there. Why not? I mean, Dillon Gabriel is obviously not getting it done. He can't throw the ball downfield. When he tried to throw it downfield, it got picked off yesterday. Generally, he's just dinking and dunking, including taking a safety out of the end zone, which how many plays did he play in college? Like 5 million? Shouldn't you know that a grounding in the end zone is going to end up in a safety, Nick? He obviously did not know that, or he's seeing ghosts out there. I heard that Sampson was supposed to be running a route into the flat, should have been there. Well, guess what? He wasn't there. So therefore, it's 2 points to them. And then we give ourselves kudos because we kick an onside kick and recover it. Immediately, give the ball back to them in 3 downs. It's just amazing. This up and down with this team, which is mostly down, is at least at times somewhat entertaining. But, man, you've got to get Dillon Gabriel out of there. You've got to get Shedeur in there. Let's see what he's got. Let's at least be entertaining going forward. Let's give the fans something to rally behind. We all know he's set up to fail. Shedeur Sanders is going to be set up to fail no matter when he goes in there. I'd rather see it sooner rather than later. Let's go, Nick.
Chris, what's alarming, though, this is their guy. Like, they were excited to get to this guy at some point.
But he fell to him, Nick. Was he really their guy? Your guy you go out and draft. Their guy was Dylan Gabriel. They went out and drafted that guy. You and I talked to beat reporters in Oregon. They said this is a career backup, which is fine. It's great to have a career backup, but not when you don't have a franchise quarterback, Nick, which is what we have right now in Cleveland. And I think they're just kicking Shedeur because they know Shedeur's not going to be good when he comes in. And I think that's why they're waiting. They know that's the last button. Once they hit that button, they make that explosion. It is all over, Nick. You got nowhere else to go.
I mean, I'm at that point now. Like you look at this offense, like, and I know I said it like last week on the show, the week before, like being a general manager is much more than writing names on draft cards. And like the fact that they spent a top 100 pick on Dylan Gabriel, whether you love the kid or not, you have no offensive line. Isaiah Bond, is there a more Andrew Berry receiver than Isaiah Bond, who was an undrafted free agent because of some absolutely repulsive allegations? You gave him a record-setting, fully guaranteed contract to get him to Cleveland, and he's the worst wide receiver I've ever seen. He's somehow more embarrassing than Jerry Jeudy, who had 2 receptions for 0 catches and 0 yards, and you owe him $41 million guaranteed. That's what the Browns do. They have not done a good job assembling this roster. Could you have used an offensive lineman with the 94th pick? How would a receiver have looked with the 94th pick? No, instead we've got Dylan Gabriel. It's so bad, guys. And there's no fixing this. Like, I feel everybody on Sunday wants Kevin Stefanski fired. And to those people, I'll tell you, we've got 9 more of these things until we hit the finish line. And then whatever happens is going to be whatever happens to Kevin Stefanski. He sits up there and he tries to tell himself that he's going to fix this and it's going to get better. Kevin, how? You're starting Isaiah Bond and Jerry Jeudy. It's not getting better.
Oh. Well, all right. Yeah. So,
but congrats to Myles Garrett on the 5 sacks and setting that record. That was very good and a positive out of that game.
So do you think, I know you got your Sanders jersey on. Do you think it would be much better, though, for him to step in? Or do you just think it would give the fan base a little bit of a boost and some excitement? Because you got to imagine it would be really difficult for him to step in, though.
Nick, you're breathing hard over there.
Professional sports are supposed to be entertaining. So I think that, like, at the absolute baseline word, I'm not entertained on Sundays. I'm not. I'm bored. Like, these games are so boring. And, like, the second half of the Patriots game was at least entertaining because of how hilariously bad it was. Like, when he threw the check down to nobody in the end zone and gave the Patriots 2 points, that was funny. When the football bounced off of Isaiah Bond's head, that was funny. But, like, sports are supposed to be entertaining. This is supposed to be an escape from the government shutdowns and the real life stressors of the world. So when I'm bored on Sundays, I'm not being entertained. And I think that Shedeur could at least get us back to being entertaining. With that said, though, like, I'm no dummy. This offensive line is a joke. The receivers are a joke. They've invested nothing into either of those positions. And Shedeur is a guy that, you know, got sacked 5 times the last time we saw him against the Los Angeles Rams. But I think that the one thing that Shedeur has going for him is he's got a lot of fans in that locker room. Like, he's a popular guy. I think he could keep some of the vets bought in, and he'll certainly keep the fans bought in. Like, you don't have a home game, I don't believe, until November 16th, right around Thanksgiving weekend. If you continue to play Dylan Gabriel, that stadium is going to be empty. And maybe that's what the owner wants. Maybe the owner's too focused on his big fancy stadium projects, because that's what it looks like to the fans when you're not making any changes at quarterback, when you've got this zombie head coach regurgitating the same statement in his press conference for the last 6 years. It's been 6 years of this slop. And people should be fed up because the product on Sundays is crap. And I'm sick of watching crap.
Do you think at some point we'll get a podcast series, like maybe well after Kevin Stefanski has retired, and we're going to hear the reality of what was going through his head every time he got asked a question from the media, and he wanted to hit the Kevin Stefanski truth button, but instead he hit the media safe, keep my job as long as I can button.
I don't know that there is
I don't think it's in there.
I think he's just a zombie. I think he's programmed, and that's why Dylan Gabriel and him go hand in hand. Like Dylan Gabriel, the supercomputer, like his brain was like, nobody open, throw check down. Well, you're in the end zone. You can't throw a check down when there's nobody there. That's 2 points. The computer doesn't work. Football is a real sport played by humans. It's not played on spreadsheets. It's not played on computers. Like, you have real human emotion going into this, and this organization is void of all of that. It is, and it has been for 6 years.
We got to give another thank you to our friends at Fairway Ford. You can head down to their dealership or visit them at fairwayfordohio.com. You'll be glad you did. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Garage Beer. No bitterness, no frills, no IPA, just beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It is time for our Garage Beer featured interview. Garage Beer is the perfect beer for any occasion. It's small batch, no frills, no bitterness. It's just beer that tastes like beer. And the garage is always open with Garage Beer. We're welcoming on a very special guest. Welcome to radio host on 97.1 The Fan in Columbus, Timmy Hall. Thanks for joining us.
Guys, good to be back.
Hey.
How are we doing? Are we okay in Browns country right now? Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
Let's just focus on the collegiate game today. Let's not so much focus on the pros at all. We're going to talk a lot of Buckeyes and just kind of forget about that NFL thing right now.
We call that disassociate. Let's do that.
We're doing a lot of a disassociation here in Cleveland right now.
Yeah.
But Ohio State right now appears to be, let's just say, a step above everybody else, Timmy. What do you think about what they've done so far? And looking ahead this week, you got Penn State. We all had it circled coming into the season, thought this was going to be a huge game. Now, the spread is, over 20 right now? I mean, it's supposed to be a laugher. What do you think about the prospects this week and what the team's done so far?
You know, the only thing that concerns me with how I feel about Ohio State football at the moment in this middle part of the season here, where they're not playing any opponents with numbers next to them, is that I'm not concerned about anything, if that makes sense. I didn't feel it going on the road to Illinois. And guess what? They looked fine. They gave up a couple of touchdowns finally, but they took care of a really good ranked team on the road just fine. I certainly didn't feel any kind of concern or issue on the road at Wisconsin. Completely fine. You know, their run game didn't pop. Like, you look for areas to nitpick, but that was okay. I mean, another shutout victory. This defense can hardly get scored upon, but I know that football can be weird sometimes. But hey, I have no concerns going into this week. None whatsoever. I would pick Ohio State to cover the 20.5-point spread. Football is wild. That's why we're even talking about this, because Penn State was a national title pick before the season started, and they already had to fire James Franklin, as we know, one of the biggest storylines in college football.
I love the confidence. There's no fear in Columbus of the football gods out there right now.
I'm not like the Lorax, all right? I just speak for trees or whatever. I don't speak for everybody, for all of the Buckeye fans. I'm not concerned. If we did a percentage thing, I'm sure the majority of Buckeye fans are not concerned at all for this one. I think we know the one game that we're concerned about that is left in the regular season. We all know what that one is, and it's still coming up in late November.
Yeah, actually, so like you mentioned, we're about a month away. How do the Buckeyes get that monkey off their back this season?
I don't know. Like, I hope that they do. It's still a ways away. Like we talk about, you still got to win the games before that one. I would literally be shocked if they're not 11-0 when they go to that game, knowing that the ducks in a row that are still left on the table for them. And Gab, I just think when we get to that day in late November, they have to be who they are. I don't even know offensively if they have dialed into that identity just yet. That is another thing for concern right there. They were still talking about possible movement in the interior of the offensive line. I would be okay if you saw some type of switch. They need to have more pop in their run game. I think we all know that. you could sit back there and throw it as much as you want. And newsflash, if that winds up being who they are, then they've got to just do it. If Julian Sayin needs to throw for 450 to 500 yards and they can, then do that. Then sit back and throw it 55 times. If you don't have the confidence in your run game, I'm hoping that they get at least a little bit more confident in their run game between now and then. So we'll see. I mean, Isaiah West was the top guy running the football last week, and it had been Bo Jackson for a long time. So there's still some questions about that.
Explain that a little bit more. What's going on in the running back room? Personally, I really like Bo Jackson. I liked what we saw out of him, and then all of a sudden he kind of disappears. So what's going on behind closed doors there?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things. I think when you take a look at their run scheme, it's always been one that has been successful and more than serviceable for Ohio State. I've never really been a guy that even worried about what individual was going to carry the football for Ohio State. When you take a look at the guys that they recruit, and this is a perfect example too, because a team that loses Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson should be really concerned about the run game. Maybe this shows that I'm being stupid here, that I'm wrong, but I thought that, bringing in a big body guy like CJ Donaldson, we were oohing and ahhing about James Peoples before the year too. Like in the offseason, he was going to be the guy that had that shiftiness that could catch it out of the backfield. And then if you were in dire need, you had this phenom freshman that had a big spring in Bo Jackson. And then Isaiah West comes into the fray. You got 4 guys there that are more than capable. I put my trust and my faith in what the offensive line does. It starts there. Even if you got to go to a true freshman at times, we've seen it time and time again in years past. I'm blanking on his name, but Dallin Hayden, right? Not a household name, but a guy that would come in, carry the rock, and have several games north of 100 yards. So they're just not executing, and that's on everybody. I think that's on the offensive line, some of those interior offensive linemen that aren't holding blocks enough. They get pretty good blocking play from their tight ends. They use a lot of tight ends right now. And it's never like one thing on any particular run, but you add it all up, and they've just been missing the mark in that area, and it's got to change for them.
Timmy, how about the fate of Ryan Day? Do you think it'll be decided by that Michigan game?
I don't anymore. Not for the time being. And this is a conversation that we continue to come back to, right? You're changing the college football system. That game doesn't matter as much anymore. Anybody that you really ask, that is dialed into the rivalry will not agree with that. Like there is no taking away from what that game means.
Thank you.
But I mean, honestly, if you have the choice to go on and continue your season or for it to just die and be done with one loss there, what are you going to choose? Like obviously you're going to want a chance to pick up the pieces and carry on and see what you can do, which is what they did last year. And they ran through the toughest gauntlet in college football history, in my opinion. I don't even know if that's debatable, the 4 teams that they had to beat in the first ever edition of an expanded college football playoff to win the title. So that buys Ryan Day time. I think we all agreed right there. None of us liked it. It was getting to a point where it's a fireable offense to keep losing to that team when you're a massive favorite and you can't accomplish any other goals after that. But they were able to do that last year. They won a national championship. So that's a huge feather in the cap for Ryan Day. It doesn't absolve that they haven't beaten Michigan, but if they're 11-0 and they say play it out, they do lose. Are we going to fire him that in between then and they might still go to the Big Ten championship game? So no, certainly not. He's not bound to that right now, but yeah, it's got to get better. At the same time, it's got to get better. They got to win that game.
I can't believe we've gone this long in this interview without asking about the defense. When you talk about Ohio State, you got to talk about this defense. Hasn't allowed 50 points yet this season. I mean, that's incredible, and that's cumulative. What's your evaluation of this defense? What have you been seeing this year? Why are they so much better than they were last year when they were pretty damn good?
They're better. They were pretty damn good last year, and they were well coached last year. And obviously, one of the big storylines here is going to be your new defensive coordinator and what he's going to have in store for a struggling Penn State offense that has lost Drew Aller for the season, as everybody knows, but they still have 2 really talented running backs and a very solid offensive line. Jim Knowles has had that Penn State defense okay. Like they're fine. They're giving up less than 20 points per game. It's like top 20 in college football. If you remember his first year at Ohio State, it took them a little bit to grasp everything that he was doing. And some Penn State players talked about that. But with Matt Patricia, he's just the guy's brilliant. I think everybody knows that the guy is brilliant when it comes to defensive football. And he had talked about this before he came back and chose to take the job at Ohio State, where he, in his time away from the NFL, had started to study college football a little bit more. He had started to take a closer peek. So that, that chewed up pencil of his on that notepad, that had already had a lot of ideas and a lot of things that he wanted to put into play when he got to a college football. And then when you put him here at Ohio State with the talent that they had coming back, it's incredible. I knew that the linebackers were going to be amazing. I think most Buckeye fans knew Arvell Reese getting that opportunity here. Cleveland area guy, about him as a recruit. He is just a freakish build, and you can put him in so many different spots. Sonny Styles gets the blocko. He's the leader of that team. He's an incredible player. And then the benefit was losing Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau, what they were for the defense. Weren't quite sure what Kenyatta Jackson Jr. and mainly Caden Curry were going to be at the edge positions. And Curry has just blown everybody away. He's one of the best players on this defense. And that's, you've got Caleb Downs that I didn't even mention, and a talented secondary. And Curry has just blown people away with his skill set this year.
Timmy Hall, thanks for joining us. You can catch him on 97.1 The Fan in Columbus. He's the co-host of Common Man and Timmy. We really appreciate you spending some time and giving us your insights.
Yeah, absolutely. And McNeil, congrats on the Michael Jordan tweet. That might have been your best one yet. I mean, that was like, what did you get? 50 million?
About 10 million on that
liked?
one. Hang it in the roof.
What?
It's
How
like
did I
10
miss
Twix
this?
for you. Come on.
Yeah.
Save
That's
some
the
for the
top
rest of us.
5. That's definitely a top one for me. Thank you, Timmy. Appreciate
All right,
it,
guys.
man.
We're taking a short break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Smart Choice Windows, energy-efficient products at an affordable price. Visit smartchoicewindows.com today.
Hey everybody, it's Nick Padone with my friends at Northeast Factory Direct. If you're remodeling that kitchen, updating your furniture, freshening up your patio, or looking for a new mattress, Northeast Factory Direct is the place for you. Just as the leaves on the trees outside are changing and the Cleveland Browns find themselves in the basement of the AFC North, you know you're going to be spending some time inside your house this winter, so upgrade your interior with our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. There's no fancy showrooms, no high-pressure salespeople, just high-quality items at unbelievable prices. It gets even better for you guys that listen to us on the Big Play Cleveland Show every week. When you visit them today in Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, or North Canton, you're getting ready to check out, ask for that extra special Big Play bonus. You're going to get an extra hookup on top of all of the great items at Northeast Factory Direct. So visit them today, Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, North Canton. Check them out online, northeastfactorydirect.com.
All right, we're doing fill in the blank. The Cavaliers are currently 2-1 without DG and Strus, but we've seen some excitement from some of the new players. My first impression of this year's Cavs team so far is,
Well, wake me up for the playoffs. I mean, I'm excited about the regular season games to see how this team kind of progressive. But ultimately, it's going to come down to the playoffs. But I will say, Lonzo Ball, it's been fun watching him. It's been fun watching him distribute the ball in there, kind of adding that element to the offense when he's out there. Right now we don't have Strus. We don't have Garland yet. So it'll be interesting to see once those guys get back into the fold what this team's going to look like. But up until that time, I'm looking at the new guys. I'm looking at guys like Lonzo Ball. And it gives me a little bit of hope for what that cycle looks like for us.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to put stock into this regular season, you're certainly not going to put stock into these first 3 games where you just got DeAndre Hunter back. Yep. You still don't have Strus. You still don't have Garland. It is a completely different team that you're looking at now than you're going to look in April. So first impression of this year's Cavs team is just incomplete. I definitely think that there are some habits that they need to improve on the defensive side of the floor. I think the fact that we've seen Jared Allen get bullied in 2 out of the 3 games, red flag that's going to come up in the postseason again
against the Knicks.
I think they've shown you some things that they certainly need to improve, but for the most part, it's just wildly incomplete and way too soon to make any assumptions questions about what this team is going to be.
I think it could be a blessing in disguise, too, to see some of these young guys get more minutes, too. Like Craig Porter Jr. was phenomenal last night, and I think they have a lot of potential there, but like with some of these teams, some of these guys just never get a chance to get their reps, and so I think this is kind of a good thing if you look long term. DG, he's recovering, but that's good because there's so many games that like when we do get him back, you want those players in peak condition when it really matters, to your guys' point.
Yeah, we've even seen a little bit of Proctor out there, too.
Yeah.
So even the rookies playing a little bit. So it's nice to see the younger blood also get their opportunities right now.
Tyrese Proctor is probably a jersey. I haven't bought a Cavs jersey since I was in high school, and there's something about this kid, the way that he plays, also the fact that he's number 24, my favorite number. Also, I grew up loving Kobe Bryant, so I think he might be one of the first Cavs jerseys I go out and buy. I just have a good feeling about this guy. I love his aura, and he brings a lot of skills to the table. We'll be seeing more of him, hopefully. Wednesday's Cavs game in Boston. They're missing Jason Tatum. What do you think about this game? It'll be
a lot less juice on this game now when you don't have Tatum out there. But I still, we're going to talk to Tim Hall about Ohio State and how they have to overcome Michigan. There's a little bit of that here, even though they don't have Tatum. And we know the Celtics this year aren't the old Celtics, but you still got to be able to beat this team. And I think that's going to be an important stepping stone to them. So I'd like to see them get their business done with Boston so you can kind of move on and think about other things throughout the regular season. But you certainly lost a lot of juice not having Tatum out there.
Yeah, win the winnable games is what sports are really all about. So this is one that you should win. Hopefully you do win. It's it just doesn't have that same punch because there's no Jason Tatum, and this isn't a serious team that shouldn't stand in your way of doing stuff and what you want to do in the postseason. So it's definitely lost a little bit of its juice.
Have you guys seen the starting five on Netflix?
Yeah.
Not.
Oh,
No.
okay. I'm really falling in love with it. If you haven't checked it out, you really get a behind-the-scenes look at these players, their
It's
lifestyle.
like NBA Hard Knocks.
Yeah, and you're learning more
nice.
about the teams, and this
with
is
like superstars instead of
yeah,
scrubs.
Instead
it's
of
great.
like the Browns.
I hope Donovan Mitchell makes it on. But I say all that because they talked a little bit about the in-season tournament, which for a lot of fans and even the players themselves, they kind of made a joke out of it, is a little like confusing or they just don't understand it. The NBA Cup, your excitement level for it this year is?
Above Browns football. How about that? I'll give you that. It's nice to see them in kind of a format that mimics the playoffs so you can see them try a little bit more and actually be gunning for something. So it adds a little bit of interest here. But outside of that, once again, we've got bigger goals here as a Cavs organization. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock into some midseason tournament.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited for it because I definitely think that it's like a heightened game for the guys, like even though nobody really understands it, like I think it gets you closer to
There's a
playing.
lot of money on
They
the line.
understand that there's money involved.
Right, and then like it kind of sets a tone for like what playoff basketball feels like, even though I think playoff basketball is still more amplified than whatever this thing is. Not looking forward to the courts, hate those, but the rest of it, sure.
What we saw last week, what NBA players will do when there's money on the line, right? Let's see it in that tournament.
Yeah, thanks to the starting five, I think my excitement level is a little, like, I'm a little interested. I hate to pivot so hard like this, but one word to describe the first half of the Browns season is?
Crap. It's been complete crap. I have nothing to hang my hat on. You somehow beat the Packers, probably a bad loss because that's messing up your draft pick now. Sunday was a great day for the draft, by the way. The fact that the Dolphins got a big win, the Jets got a big win. Man, huge Sunday for the mock drafters. But overall, this has been complete crap.
It's expected, right? This is exactly what we thought was coming. I was so shocked in the offseason when people were talking about us potentially having 9 wins, 10 wins, something like that. You know, the line came out 5 wins. We are right on that. We're at 2 wins right now, halfway through the season. So we're just off of that mark. This is exactly what I expected from this team. You're talking about rookies making meaningful contributions. That doesn't happen on playoff teams for the most part. If you've got multiple rookies making contributions, that means that you're a meddling team at the bottom and you're trying to develop young guys. That's where the Browns are at. We're going to be bad. We're going to continue to be bad. And hopefully, to your point, Nick, we're bad enough to draft very high so that we won't be bad next year.
I love it. We're not even at Halloween, and we got the mock drafts up, man.
Oh,
Browns football.
Hey, thanks again to our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. You can check them out at any of their great locations, Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, or North Canton. And remember to ask about that Big Play bonus. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. Welcome back to the Big Big Play Cleveland Show. This Smart Choice segment is brought to you by Smart Choice Windows. Right now at Smart Choice Windows, you can get 50% off all windows during our limited time promotion. Plus, take advantage of their special financing with no money down and no interest until 2027. And if you're looking to upgrade your whole exterior, Smart Choice Windows is offering $1,500 off siding for your entire home and $500 off entry door installation. Or boost your curb appeal. Remember that every project starts with a free, no-pressure estimate. So give them a call at 844-GET-SMART or visit smartchoicewindows.com and make sure to ask about the Big Play bonus to get an additional 10% off all promotions. All right, the smart choice in this situation. If I had to predict the winner of the AFC North this year, the smart choices.
Nick, what's happened to the AFC North that we love? Teams that don't play defense. The worst team in the division, which is us, is the only one that seems to be playing defense right now. And it's really a toss-up. If I was to pick, I know Lamar's coming back for Baltimore. Baltimore's defense is the absolute worst. That is really bad. I could see Cincinnati with Joe Flacco, despite that loss against the Jets, I could see them getting enough momentum here to carry them to Joe Burrow to carry the division in this one. So I'm going with Cincinnati.
Wow. Right now on FanDuel, despite the 1-5 start, the Ravens, actually the odds-on favorite to win the
When
division.
Lamar gets back,
I'm
yeah.
going to go with them because I think it's a coach and a quarterback league. I think Lamar is the best of the division right now and will probably be the best even when Burrow returns. So I'm going to go with the Ravens to win the AFC North, but it's a bad division, overrated. So many people for years said when you look at the, trajectory of this thing with
Black and blue
Burrow
division.
and Burrow and Jackson being in their prime for this was supposed to be the peak of the AFC North, and it has not been that.
Do you think we're the worst in football right now? Worst division?
Boy, it's pretty
Probably.
close. It's pretty close right now. And what's funny is we just went through who we think is going to win the division. The leader in the division we didn't mention, which is Pittsburgh, because we think they're going to fade. So it's really a toss-up right now, which is kind of funny. The Browns are in a great position, if we had a good team, to take the division this year, right? Even with a mediocre team, you'd be competitive. But we're so bad, we're not even in the conversation.
Okay, with the Cavs' injury and recent postseason history, the smart choice this regular season would be.
Always sacrifice some games. I don't care if you sit players, rest players, whatever the heck you need to do. Everybody's on their own program. Last year, Allen played in every game. He thought that was what's best for him. Darius Garland ended up having some injuries, so he had to take some time off. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. Whatever it is for you individually, figure it out in the regular season so we're ready to go for the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't care. I know people hate load management. Load manage away. Like the Los Angeles, we got the World Series going on right now. The Los Angeles Dodgers load managed their way in baseball to the World Series. Like they weren't without their main guys and their real starting pitchers until September, and they were able to flip a proverbial switch, and they pretty much ran the table in the MLB postseason. So we know that works in the NBA. Like that's tried and true. I'm all for load managing the entire way until April and May.
How about when you look at how the Cavs offense is operating? A lot of people expecting Evan Mobley to take that next step offensively. That we've been talking about, having him be more of a ball handler, bringing up the ball in transition and getting it to him more. How about if you had to pick how the Cavs offense operated, the smart choices?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Evan Mobley taking the ball up. I know every once in a while we will do that as kind of a gimmick thing. I am a big fan of what he's been doing on the inside. It does seem like he's gotten a little bit stronger. He's a little bit more initiating contact down low, which is what I like to see out of him, because I think if he starts to bang a little bit as well as, match that up with his outside shot, then you're going to have a complete player there. But, continue to run the offense. Once Garland gets back, you're going to run it between Mitchell and Garland and move the ball around. That's what I want to see out of this offense.
Yeah, team basketball is what works. Like the Celtics won it without a true Batman. Like the debate for years was, is Tatum the better player or is Jaylen Brown? And when it mattered most, they both had to be really good. Like that's what this Cavs team needs is when the lights are the brightest, and I know we had a little bit of that joke this week, but when the playoffs come around, you need Donovan Mitchell to be really good. You need Evan Mobley to be really good. And you need to be playing complementary team basketball. It's how the Pacers beat you just a year ago in the playoffs. So I don't really care who the offense goes through. You just need to be playing good team basketball.
Since you brought it up, I do have to say I was so bummed that Jared Allen's self-deprecating one-liner could not hit because we ended up getting beat around.
And he got beat around. Like,
Yeah.
To be a player with such little self-awareness,
I'm so bummed.
It did not do anything for his public perception. And when he plays against physical centers, he delivers those type of performances more than he doesn't, and that's why his public perception is what it is.
I just love Jared Allen, though. I wish the best for him this season, and I hope he can prove us wrong. That segment also brought to you by Smart Choice Baths. It's the perfect time to remodel your bathroom. Right now, Smart Choice Baths is giving you $1,250 off your bathroom projects, plus a free luxury upgrade to add comfort and style. And just for Big Play listeners, you'll save an additional 10% on your project. So don't wait. Visit them at smartchoicebaths.com or give them a call at 844-GET-SMART to schedule your free consultation today. Smart Choice Baths, where luxury meets affordability.
Big Play bets on the Big Play Cleveland Show presented by our friends at FanDuel. It's NBA tip-off week, and FanDuel is your home for live betting. So even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger playout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join because FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So visit FanDuel.com/BigPlay to sign up today. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. You must be 21 plus, present in Ohio, first online real money wager only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonuses are issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG.
All right, with the Browns on the bye, let's look at this week's primetime games instead. Thursday Night Football, Ravens at Dolphins. Ravens are favored by 7.5 points. The over-under set at 49.5 points. Is this a get-right game for the Ravens?
Oddly, guys, we need to pull for the Ravens in this spot because we need to pull for Miami, rather, because you need Miami to continue to win. You need Miami to be a good team. When we're on this race to the bottom, the draft is really what matters. You need to have a better pick than the Dolphins do because they have a lot of needs similar to yours. So let's go Miami Dolphins in this Thursday night matchup.
All right.
Dolphins coming off a big win yesterday, 34-10, so I like that pick.
The Ravens hate watch is on.
Sunday Night Football, Seahawks at the Commanders. What do we like in this one?
Give me Sam Darnold. Give me the Seahawks in this one. I like for them to win.
Yeah, kind of reviving his career. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been one of the most fun players to watch. So if you want to look at a little player prop action, maybe a little JSN anytime touchdown as our Ohio State Buckeyes continue to dominate the National Football League. He's been one of the best in the league, and it just goes to show investing in that wide receiver position is important, and Jackson Smith-Njigba is living proof.
Okay, so Cardinals at Cowboys. This is another Monday Night Football game. Cardinals, the Cowboys are favored by 3. The over-under is set for 53.5 points. As a Browns fan, can you comprehend an over-under that high?
I mean, Arizona's defense is bad. The Cowboys' defense without Michael Parsons is laughable. They'll get Kyler Murray back in this spot. 53 is a ton of points, though. Like, I tend to probably skew under on that just because you never know the version of Kyler Murray that you're going to get, especially coming off an injury. So I'll lean under on Monday Night Football.
What is the highest number of legs you have stacked for a parlay this season that you have come out on top for?
3, and that's the max. That's it. It's not exactly going nuts. Yeah, 3 is the most I've hit this season.
I've gotten pretty good at stacking like 6 money lines. Like
Nice.
if you could pick 6 winners in the National Football League, you could parlay those all together, put $50 on it, and get like a really big payout. So that's been my method this NFL season, is just picking 6 winners. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, whatever, you go back to the drawing board that next Sunday.
What's your favorite sport to bet on, or where have you had the most success?
I always like basketball. You know, although I like football as my number one sport, basketball is a lot more fun because I'm more engaged. If I'm betting on the individual player, his props, the number of points, number of rebounds, and I'll parlay those. I'm always looking to see if those players are going to hit those numbers. And it's always the over. I can't bet the under in basketball because that is excruciating, Nick, to watch. If you're saying, Donovan Mitchell, I hope you don't hit 15 points, that is absolutely an awful place to be in. Always hit the over.
Yeah, for sure. I would say my favorite sport to bet on is always like the next sports season that's coming up. Like will convince myself when we've been without baseball for a while, like if we could just get to baseball and I could bet some no-run first innings and I could bet some pitcher props, like I'll be able to get my balance up. So whatever sport is coming next, that's what my best betting sport will be.
Thanks for watching the Big Play Cleveland show. Just a reminder, you can tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for a full breakdown of everything Cleveland Browns with Hanford Dixon, Josh Cribbs, and Phil Taylor. You can catch it live on X, YouTube, or the Big Play app. That's the Top Dogs show only on Big Play Sports Network. We'll see you next time.